Good afternoon, class. How are you doing? So today we are going to look at disaster management.
Just a minute.
So in this topic we
We
are
are
going
fine.
thank you. In this topic we are going to see disaster management. So we need to understand what is disaster management and hazards. So introduction to disaster management. First, disaster management refer to the organized process for preparing for land response to disaster. So what are the importances of this disaster management? So first one we have it helps to reduce loss of life, loss of property, social disruption. Also, it involves planning, coordination, and implementation of strategies before and during disaster and after disaster. So we have definition of disaster. It is a sudden events that cause widespread harm to people, property, or the environment. So for example, sudden and often unexpected in nature. And this disaster can be categorized into two. We have natural disaster and human disaster, which is also man-made. It signifies importance, negative impact on community. Then we come to definition of disaster management. Disaster management is the process of preparing for corresponding and recovering from diseases. And we have here steps for disaster recovering phases. First one we have prevention. Second one we have preparedness. Third one we have response. And fourth one recovery and mitigation. When we talk about prevention is a situation whereby you come up with a new structure to defend or to protect the disaster which might occur. That's prevention. Preparedness is all about being ready. In case of a disaster occur, you are ready. You are well prepared. Like building of dams in a flood area. That's an example. Then we come to response. This response mostly happen after disaster. For example, let's say there is a flood in a certain place, and immediately after that flood has occurred, response will take place. Another factor is recovery. Another factor is a recovery. Recovery is a situation whereby, in case of a disaster to occur in a place, you recover. For example, there is a flood, properties have been swept away, so that's a recovery phase. So mitigation are those structures used in a disaster. So let's see disaster and hazards. Hazards are potential sources of harms or dangerous. So we have almost four categories. First one is natural hazards. And when we talk about natural hazards, for example, earthquakes, floods, those are natural. It can be tsunami, also those are examples. Then we have technological hazards. This can be industrial, oil spillage, it can be accidents, nuclear failure. Those are those come from the word technology. Those can be through explosion. Then we have human induced hazards. For example, terrorism. We have wars. Those are example of human induced hazards. So disaster occur when hazards cause actual damage. So that's the hazard and disaster. So let us go to types of disaster. Types of disaster. We have types of disaster. We have natural disaster and man-made disaster. When we talk about natural disaster, we have earthquakes, we have floods, landslide, drought, volcano eruption, tornadoes are example. So we have technological diseases. When we talk about technological diseases, we have industrial accidents, nuclear accidents, chemical spillage. So that's an example. Then we have human-induced diseases. Those include worms, terrorism, and pandemics. Those are examples of disaster. Then we have disaster management process. What are the processes to be undertaken when carrying out disaster? So first one, we have prevention. Prevention. When we talk about prevention, this is the reducing the likelihood of disaster. Then we have preparedness, planning and organizing resources. So this is like, in case there is a place which has been facing a drought or a disaster or any sorts of disaster, planning and organizing resources should be put in place to cap or to stop that incident. In case it happens, there is no loss of life or loss of properties. That's an example. Then we have response. This is an immediate action during disaster. Like the earlier we have talked about disaster, which might take place immediately. So immediately after that disaster has ended, response activities take place, like saving people lives, properties. Let's say, for example, there is a fire outbreak. Immediately after end of that process, people life may be removed from that building or storage. So that's a response. Then we have recovery. This is rebuilding and restoring of the community. So after certain events has occurred, the community is being rebuilt, coming back into the origin situation. Then we have importance of disaster management. What are the importance of disaster management? Anyone with idea? So first one we have, it minimize economic loss. Yes, Parila?
Disaster management
Yes,
is all about the approaches being used
yes.
to reduce the harmful effect of the disaster in case the disaster happens.
Yeah, very good. So it minimized the cost of economic loss. Whales have another different advantage. So let me just go what is here. Number two is support long-term community resilience. Then we have it enhance public safety and awareness. Those are important. So here we have an example of a case study. This case study was taken in Pakistan flood in 2023. It says heavy rainfall and classic mental cause massive displacement and damage. Response include internal aids and local relief effort. Another case study is 2022 Ukraine war conflict which lead to humanitarian crisis and displacement. That's another case study. Another case study is response involve international support and humanitarian assistance. Those are examples of case studies which occurred recently, 2022 and 2023. Then we have conclusion and future outlooks. So, in conclusion, disaster management is essential for building resilience community and continued improvement of preparedness and response is necessary. Technology, education, international cooperation players key role players. Everyone has a role to play in disaster management. So those are conclusion. So as we end our class, is there anybody with a question before I give out an assignment? Parila, do you have any addition or question? Sarah? So let me just give out assignment. So which say state and explain 4 types of disaster management. So thank you class. Let me on our next session.